Premier.
Hi, good morning, Wayne, and good morning, Premier Smith. Thank you again so much for everything that you're doing on behalf of all Albertans. Strangely, very recently, in the last few days, Premier Legault has indicated that there may be some social acceptability for pipelines in Quebec. And I know you've spoken with him, and I'm just curious, what kinds of things did you discuss with him? And the other part of my question, it's sort of a two-pronged question, is what do you anticipate discussing with Prime Minister Carney when you speak to him next? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I've been very annoying for Premier Legault because I told him every time I see him, I was going to lobby him on developing their own substantial natural gas resources. And every time I saw him, he said there's no social acceptability for it until recently. So you know what? You can wear people down just by making the case. And
what changed his mind?
I would say there's two things. One is that I think there is a world understanding that natural gas is an important transition fuel. I think it's a destination fuel personally. But when you use natural gas, it means you're not using other high-emitting fuels like coal and wood and in some cases even dung. And the high demand in Europe, when you think of the proximity for Quebec, if they develop their resources, worked with Nova Scotia, and were able to export to Europe, that helps our allies there. So I think the world has changed in its understanding since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's maybe part of it. The other part of it is when it comes to talking about pipelines, I'm very sensitive and understanding about how it's a little bit more complicated to build these big projects through big cities like Montreal. And so if you look at his comments, he said, well, maybe there's an opportunity for a pipeline further north. The further north you get, the more acceptability there is.
Yeah,
so I think that's a massive breakthrough. Yeah.
That was my understanding, Premier Smith, is that most of the province of Quebec favored some sort of pipeline, but it was the mayor of Montreal that put the kibosh on things. And that brings me to my next question, because we now have a new federal environment minister, Julie DeBruson. Stephen Guilbeault still making headlines on his opposition to pipelines. So are you more or are you less hopeful that Alberta will see meaningful collaboration from this federal cabinet?
I'm looking at Stephen Guilbeault trying to be relevant again. He's been relegated to the role of Minister of Flags and Fireworks, and he has no role in the environment anymore, but he's still trying to steer the agenda. The new environment minister, I'm equally concerned about her comments, but I will say that the energy minister, Tim Hodgson, has been very well received by the industry. So I'm trying to figure out which voice in caucus is going to be the one that prevails. Is it going to be the voice that has prevailed over the last 10 years, which is the keep it in the ground voice? Or is it going to be the understanding that Canada really can be an energy and economic superpower, but we've got to build things. So I think they're battling that out in the Liberal caucus. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that big nation-building projects is the position that prevails. I'm trying to not get irritated every time I see some of the ministers go a little bit off the script from what we heard during the campaign. But until I have a chance to meet with PM Carney again in person, I won't have a good gauge on that. We're having a First Minister's meeting June 1st and 2nd in Saskatoon. I understand the purpose of that is to come with the projects, the big nation building projects you want to get fast track approval for. And I got a pretty long list. At the top of my list is building a new bitumen pipeline to Prince Rupert, call it a Northern Gateway 2.0, because I think that would make a huge difference for our province and be a pretty good indicator of whether or not they're going to change direction fundamentally from the last 10 years.